This video is brought to you by Sporlan, quality, integrity, and tradition. I've got a call. It's late in the evening, and what the heck is going on here? I've got a call on a walk-in freezer not working, but you hear that sound? And the temperature controller, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but it's like glitching. That's odd. Yeah, something's going on with that temp control. Okay, well, let's jump up onto the roof first and see if we see anything going on up there. That's weird. It's like glitching. Alright, this is my compressor. Condenser looks clean. I can see through it. It's warm, but it doesn't feel like it's off on overload. It just feels like it's hot from the day. Let's open up the electrical section over here and have a look at what's going on in there. All right, so if we go from N to 4, that should be full power to the evaporator coil, which should be powering my temperature controller, which should be turning on. So the fact that I'm not seeing the power at 4 and N on this defrost clock flickering or doing anything funny like we were seeing at the temperature controller makes me think that we might have a bad temp control. So we're gonna need to head downstairs. I'm not gonna turn off power yet. We're gonna head downstairs and we're gonna open up that temp control and see what's going on within the actual control. Oh, that's not good. Look at that. As I'm taking, this thing's gonna blow up in my face. As I'm taking it out, water is dripping out of it. I know this restaurant is notorious for having roof leaks. I bet you anything, we just had a tropical storm go through and they got hammered with rain out here. I bet you anything, the whole top of this box was full of water. No, it's not too bad. Yeah, but there's definitely water in there, you can see. Alright. So, power, that looks like crap. Power is the top two on the right there. And if we have 208 volts proper, which I think we do, it's a bad control. 208 volts, we don't have a proper display on the control, 206. So, hopefully I got a control in my van. I think I do. So I don't have the exact control, but I have a control. But look at the flyaway wires, the wires that are just pushed up. That's not okay. Luckily it didn't cause a problem, but yeah, you gotta make sure your wires are really getting terminated properly. So I installed a KE2 because I didn't have another one. Now this one has built-in defrost, but we're not gonna use it. So we're just gonna hold this down. We're gonna go in here and we're gonna set it for -10. I had to set it up for 208 volts. So we're just using it as a digital control basically. I'll probably go -5 because I don't think they need -10 necessarily. Although they do have ice cream in here. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna go to -10. I wonder if I did something wrong because it didn't turn the coil on. Hold on, let's keep going through this. We're going to change the defrost time to 0. Defrost per day, we're going to change it to 0. Compressor starts per hour. We're going to change that off. Differential, we're going to change it to 3. And that's it. So I must have done something wrong because it should have turned on by now. Should have opened the solenoid. Let me look into this. Oh, what a mess. Okay, so I got in here. I don't think I had anything miswired, so Let's let this guy turn on. See what it does. It's at 47 right now, so let's give it a few minutes. Hear it click on and see if it turns the solenoid valve on. I must have had something messed up because now it turned on. So I just ended up yanking everything apart and then double checking on my wiring. So I must have had something crossed or something. All right, well, I got to put this all back together, and then hopefully we'll watch this guy come down to 10. All the evaporator fan motors came on, so we know that the defrost termination switch is working, so that's good. Now I need to get the solenoid cover back on. I'm gonna have to turn off power to do that because I gotta shove a bunch of crap in there. So guys, I think it's in a time delay right now because it was running a minute ago, but I had to shut it off. There we go. So I had put a time delay on here the last time I changed this compressor because I was sick of the short cycling. So it's running now. We're gonna let it run, but I noticed that this defrost timer had the wrong time and it's really hard to turn. So I'm actually gonna swap it out real quick. I've got a new one right here, so we're gonna do that, and then we'll put it all back in operation. Let's hope it doesn't blow up. Nope, didn't blow up. All right. Oh man, now we got stuck in the time delay. Okay, so we are set. It is currently 9:08 p.m., about right there. These guys are kind of silly, so we are gonna set a few defrosts here because they really ice this box up often. So I'm gonna put a little, we're gonna start with 4 defrosts for a half an hour, and then I'll add in a couple more in the middle of the night. All right, I set it up. So I got 4 defrosts, 7-ish, somewhere in there, 8-ish, whatever. And then I put a half hour at 4 a.m. and then a couple 15 minutes throughout the day. So now I'm gonna pop over here. We're gonna watch the system operate. All right, it is currently 96 degrees outside. We have a clear sight glass. We got a nice big Sporlan seat all there. This is one, I don't know if you guys remember, but I did a compressor change out on it. It was a pain in the butt, but all right, we are looking pretty darn good. I can actually turn this off. It'll make it a little more visible. So 404A, 115 saturation. That's not too bad. 28 PSI, -4 on the evap. I'm not really seeing any issues. I'm gonna go ahead and take my gauges off, leave this running, put the grate on, and head downstairs and see if the box is coming down in temp. All right, and we are running. It's about 21 degrees inside the box. Evaporator fan motors are moving air. Coil looks clear. I'm not gonna stand around and watch this. I got an hour and a half, 2-hour drive home, so this is all they're getting for today. I'll call and follow up with them tomorrow on the phone. This one was a bit frustrating, and let me preface this. I don't like asking management about details, right? And what I mean by details, it'll make sense. Like when this manager called me, he called me on the phone, and or actually I called him when the service call came in. We got an email through their invoicing program, and it said, hey, emergency service call, walk-in freezer not working. So I called him and I said, hey, what's going on? Walk-in freezer's down? He goes, yeah. He goes, I already checked the breakers. The fans aren't running. And I go, okay, that sounds like an emergency, man. It was probably, I don't know, 9 o'clock at night or something like that. So I was like, all right, well, I'll drive out there, you know. And actually, I think it was like 7 o'clock at night when he called me, but it took me 2 hours to get out there. So I got out there like at 9. But when I was on the phone with him, though, before I got off the phone, you know, he said, yeah, it's not working. I said, okay, I'll head out there, no problem. And he goes, yeah. He goes, I noticed it this morning at 9:30 in the morning. He goes, but, you know, the fans weren't running. I figured I'd just shut the door and see what happened. And he goes, now it's, you know, 7 o'clock at night. And I'm like, dude, why did you tell me that? He's like, what do you mean? And I go, why did you tell me that you noticed it at 9:30? And then now you need me to drive all the way out there, you know, to fix it. I said, it's better if you just leave that part out. Just tell me it's broken. I don't need to know when it broke, okay? I don't ask those questions anymore. He's like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's fine. But I said, now we're on overtime. I said, you're concerned about money. You know, you're trying to save money, so you want to shut the door and see what happens. But then you forget about it and you call me late at night when now it's overtime and they have to pay me a lot of money to drive out there and to drive all the way home because we charge travel time on overtime home. So it's like, you know, it took me 2 hours to drive out there. I was on site for 3 or something like that, and then they paid me 2 hours to drive home, you know? So anyways, regardless, I got there, found that the unit had a bad temperature controller, went through the steps, and then while I was, again, because it's about the big picture, right? I don't just stop there. put my gauges on it, check it out, see it come down significantly in temp. Also found that the defrost clock wasn't really turning very well. Went ahead and changed that too, and they're fine. Everything's back in operation. Now, I didn't stay and watch it come down to temp because it had been down since like 9:30 in the morning. It was like 40 something, 50 degrees in the box. It was going to take forever to come down to temp, you know? So I just watched it come down significantly to in the 20s, and then that was it. Got out of there. It's been, I don't know, 5 days since I was on that call or something. So all is well. Everything was working. Now, you know, as far as me taking a shortcut and saying, hey, I'm not going to watch this entire box come down to temp, if I wasn't in charge, then I would want to call my boss and say, hey, it seems to be working great. What would you like us to do? You know, I never leave that up to management. I don't put that in their hands. I just, you know, I make those decisions, and so it was no big deal for me. I felt confident looking at the vital signs of the system. We had a clear sight glass, didn't see any issues. Compressor, condenser was clean, like everything was cool. The ice pattern, the frosting of the TXV, everything looked fine. Okay, so I just don't want you guys to think that like I just half-ass everything. No, I'm looking at vital signs. I'm using my experience. I'm listening to things, looking at the operation, and making judgment calls based on what I'm seeing. Okay. We don't always get easy ones like this, but sometimes the easy ones like this can be frustrating because it can be in the middle of the night. I bite my tongue. I did tell the manager, like, hey, man, don't tell me that kind of stuff. You know, like, just keep that to yourself. Just let me do this. You know, I did say that. But other than that, I didn't give him attitude. I didn't have a problem when I was out there. I wasn't a jerk to anybody. It is what it is. It's broken regardless. And, you know, it needs to be fixed. So that's what I'm there to do. I really appreciate you making it to the end of the video. Thank you so very much for watching. If you haven't already, please consider checking out my website, hvacrvideos.com. We have hats, beanies, sweaters, merchandise, all that good stuff available on the website. Great way to help support the channel. A couple other ways to help support the channel coming up, but the easiest way to support this channel is literally watch the videos from beginning to end. That is the easiest way. Okay, it doesn't cost you a single thing. If you want to purchase any tools, go to truetechtools.com. Find what you want on their website. At checkout, there's a spot for an offer code, and basically it's an affiliate code for me. Okay, so if you put my offer code, big picture, one word, you get an 8% discount on your entire order on checkout. There's a few things that the discount code doesn't apply to. Okay, some manufacturers don't allow discounts on their tools. Keep that in mind, but majority of the items on their website, if you put in my offer code, big picture, one word, you get an 8% discount, and then I get a small commission from that. So that's another great way to help support the channel. There's also PayPal, Patreon, YouTube channel memberships. There's links in the show notes of this video for all those other methods. I really, really appreciate y'all. Thank you so very much, and we will catch you on the next one.